Week 14. It's been a long season, friends. We are here to get you a playoff spot because God knows we can't do it ourselves.
Dude, that's one word that scares me more than anything else right now is playoffs. Even if you make it, it's like, what's the use, man?
Playoffs.
I used to play this shit for fun. There's no fun. Only success. And I haven't seen success. At least in a couple of leagues ever.
We were talking about that question before offline. Godwin, Christian Kirk, and Mike Williams were sitting one of them. Someone said they're going back and forth between sitting Mike Williams or Chris Godwin, and I'm just basically saying the way Evans has been playing, Godwin's like in PPR, especially Godwin is the dude. He has a safe floor right now. I think it's one of the safer ones in the game right now. Let's see what Godwin's done the past couple weeks. Godwin the last 3 weeks has put up 14, 29, 19, 10, 13, 11, 15, 12, 12. It's a guaranteed 13 a week almost. Godwin is just that dude. Jeff Wilson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or DJ Chark. Devin, I love you, but your rush defense is terrible.
We are not good whatsoever. We are absolutely terrible.
With Joseph Bosa not playing. It's pretty much how it works around here. If Joseph isn't playing, then the rush defense does not exist. Mike Williams or Marquise Brown?
Marquise, so it's Mike Williams or Marquise Brown, right?
Yeah, and if it's to any constellation, Rondale Moore is out.
Give me Marquise Brown. I love Mike Williams as a player. His ceiling is always a little bit higher than your other wide receiver twos around the league because of how talented he is. Hollywood Brown's arguably in the same tier of wide receiver too, where he could be a one if put on the right team. I like Hollywood's floor more than Mike Williams' floor, respectively. Patriots I think I'm leaning Hollywood. I know the Patriots defense is good, but they're going to have a lot to handle in D-Hop. And I think the main benefactor is going to be Hollywood Brown. This is an offense that does not have Rondale Moore, has not been able to feature Zach Ertz. It's those two receivers and then James Conner. If they don't go, the offense doesn't. The Chargers have Eckler, Everett, Carter. There's so many other mouths to feed in that Chargers offense.
Yeah, and the way the Cardinals have been playing is even when the run game has been working, it's been shied away from. And I really don't think the run game will work against New England anyways. I think they could bottle up Conner pretty well. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler's the leading rusher after Monday night's game. And they'll force feed D-Hop, but when he doesn't have to, Hollywood's going to be there as the number two. He's been that dude. There's so much talent on that offense. It just blows my mind every week that it's consistently underperforms because it just has a god awful head coach. Garrett Wilson or Keenan Allen. The Jets play Buffalo. And you guys play the Dolphins, I believe. Yes, on Sunday Night Football. I feel like I just have to lean Allen. He's been proven healthy at this point. I like Garrett Wilson, but
Keenan Allen's a different tier.
Yeah.
And Buffalo is pretty good. But there's no Tre'Davious White, so I think Garrett Wilson could have a day. I'm not expecting it. I think Garrett Wilson's solid. I'm not going to bet on him being a weekly must start, if that makes sense, because you do have Elijah Moore, you do have Corey Davis.
Yeah, Mike White could definitely spread the ball around, and Mike White could also turn the ball over. So Let's see. I think all my lineups are set. I think I'm good. One of my matchups doesn't matter. You and I are playing for a playoff spot, but that doesn't really matter. I think we're kind of secure there. And then I've just gotten my head kicked in at every other level. I've had such a bad year. I have so many points against me. It's wild. Ew. Kareem Hunt or J.K. Dobbins. I mean, at that point, oh, dude, no problem. You're always I feel that. You're always welcome here if you want, but like we were talking yesterday, like going live on Sunday can be a little stressful at times, especially if we start getting more people. But anytime you want to come on the show, Sunday, Monday, whenever we record, you're more than welcome here with us. We're just flying through your thread here as much as possible. Mainly ones that haven't been answered yet, because I never understand answering ones if somebody else already got to it. At least I don't. Let's see. Ken Walker, James Cook, Rashad White, or Isaiah Pacheco. I'm going to personally lean Pacheco.
So give me the other names.
James Cook, Rashad White.
Yeah. I can't start
Pacheco.
James Cook with Devin Singletary being alive. As good as James Cook is in stretches, I really do like.
And I feel like I know the answer to this for us, but Chris Godwin or T. Higgins.
I'm going to lean T. Higgins. The Cleveland defense isn't that good, and T. Higgins is a borderline wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2. Chris Godwin,
I mean, they're both ones that are 2s, basically.
Godwin's floor is a little bit safer just based upon the way that he is used. The biggest problem with Godwin this week is how badly do you think this Niners defense is going to affect his normal output? If we could look at the, let me just pull up standard PPR ESPN league just to look at how things have forecasted. I know Higgins had kind of a bit of a stretch where he was struggling.
Real quick to just tackle what Tyler's saying. I agree to an extent. I mainly just don't jump on ones that I like agree on. So like, let's say it's like Chris Godwin versus Zay Jones. If somebody already says Chris Godwin, I don't jump on it in Chris Godwin only because I don't think it's necessarily like wrong per se. I just at that point move on to try and find ones that haven't been answered. But I completely understand your point, Tyler.
So it depends on what you need out of your roster. Like you could start either and you'll be totally fine. I think T. Higgins could have the bigger day because of the matchup. I think Godwin's floor is relatively safe because of the relationship with the quarterback. So you can't really go wrong either way.
Yeah.
If it were me, I'd probably lean T. Higgins just based upon how good this Niners secondary is. And if we're going to look at precedent, last week, Tyreek Hill had a good game. Mike Evans is more in line to have a productive day like a Tyreek Hill could have against that secondary as comparatively to a guy like Godwin, who's more on the perimeter, kind of like how Jalen Waddle was last week. Obviously, the speeds are totally different and the offenses are run differently. But Kyle Shanahan and D'Amico Ryans' defense does really limit the upside of wide receivers.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I told him Higgins. I don't think either is particularly wrong. I looked at Higgins' floor, and it's better than I thought it was. It's roughly close to the same as Chris Godwin's. So I think both are safe here. Like, looking at T, his floor is around 12 to 14, and we just looked at Chris Godwin like a few minutes ago. It's roughly the same, along with some big games here and there, depending on, I know some of these are kind of inflated by no Jamar Chase, but even in the games that Chase is there, he's still getting 7 7 targets a game roughly for T. Higgins. Najee Harris or Rashad White? I'm going to lean Najee because he's not splitting carries.
Yeah.
Now that Fournette is back.
As bad as Najee has been, you got to lean Najee.
For the rest of the season, how would you rank these three? Herbert, Fields, or Murray? Kyler. I have Kyler in a lot of leagues, so I know the answer to Kyler. Kyler does not have good matchups for the playoffs besides week 17. So he gets Denver and Tampa Bay in the quarters and the semis. So I think Kyler has the best matchup if you make the finals. Let me look at Herbert's schedule. Herbert might be the worst one out of here in terms of just fantasy points. Off the top of my head, he gets Indianapolis, Tennessee. Okay, so those are some pretty good matchups. And then who's the last one? Justin Fields. Fields gets Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Detroit. Oh my God.
Yeah. So rest of season value rank these three. Let's just do the game. Herbert, until his cabinet of players is healthy, even then his line is just so decimated. His upside's really been curtailed this season. Like, he's averaging 20 points. He's definitely fine as a weekly starter quarterback.
Yeah.
Indy, the Rams, and Denver isn't the worst schedule for the playoffs.
It looks like to me, the way the playoff schedule works is that 15 and 16, you're playing Herbert, and 17, you're playing Kyler. Kyler gets Atlanta. That's the best matchup that all three of these dudes have. And Fields has to go up against Philly and Buffalo. Like, no.
He still could have weeks, though, is the problem. Justin Fields isn't producing monster numbers with his arms. His output has been greatly supplanted by his legs. He has scored a rushing touchdown in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight weeks where he's been active. And in one of those weeks, he scored 2 touchdowns. The Justin Fields play is high upside. It's high floor because of the rushing upside. And even with a game like Philadelphia, their rushing defense has been porous, for lack of better terms, throughout points of the season. Yeah. And as good as that defense is on paper, it's really hard to game plan for a guy like Fields because, while there are other rushing quarterbacks in the league, and Lamar is arguably the best to do it, Lamar's been a step off this year. Fields has been the de facto rushing quarterback this year in terms of overall output. Yes, Jalen Hurts' team is playing better, but yard for yard, I think Fields has been the best pure rusher at quarterback we've had this year.
That's fair. I could definitely understand that.
And he hasn't finished a week with less than 60 yards on the ground since week 5. Since week 6, he's put up totals of 88, 82, 60, 178, 147, 85, and 71. And the first week he went over 80, he didn't score a touchdown. But since then, it's been a touchdown a week for him on the ground. And then he's adding 1 to 2 more through the air.
So I guess with that, the way I currently feel and the way you talk about Herbert, and it's really not his fault. The second half adjustments have been awful. It's Fields, Murray, and Herbert in that order. And like putting Herbert last, obviously the bar is extremely high. But I really need to see what these two do tonight. Like, obviously Fields is on a bye this week. I feel like I really need to see how Herbert does against Miami and how Kyler does against the Patriots for me to flip-flop those between 2 and 3. But I guess with the way that Fields has been off the charts in his rushing, and especially if it's 4-point passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns, give you that little extra boost, then I guess Fields would have to be number 1 at that point if he is rushing that much.
Yeah, because it'd be one thing if Fields was like, he breaks off a huge run, it feels like, every week.
Yeah.
But let alone, like, he's got at least 8 carries in every week since week 5, besides last week. Like, his rushing floor is like Rashad White or any of these split backfields. He's going to give you between 7 to 12 carries a week with the upside of 15. He had 18 2 weeks ago. Like, it's not hyperbole to say, like, if you have Justin Fields, you're starting him. It doesn't matter how good the
Yeah.
Bears are. He's just that good as an individual talent.
James Cook, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Juju, Pickens, Slayton, 2 for PPR.
Juju
I'm
starting.
gonna throw Cook out the window. Juju
Peoples-Jones.
starting.
I'm not going to start Peoples-Jones until Deshaun is fully back, because that was an offense that was sustaining 2 fantasy relevant receivers weekly with Jacoby Brissett. And as we saw last week, you could barely start either of them.
No problem, Trev. Hope you get a playoff spot, or
Hey,
good luck the rest of the season.
with those quarterbacks, he should be in pretty good standing.
Yeah.
It all depends, actually. I've had Kyler throughout many leagues, and it's like every rose has its thorn with that guy. One week he'll ball out, the next week you'll be scratching your head. But yeah, I'm not starting Peoples-Jones this week. Is it Juju and Darius Slayton? Now let me see. How did Peoples-Jones do last week?
His value got saved by a return touchdown.
Well, that's not something anybody can bank on, is it? It's Peoples-Jones.
That's why I keep sitting Cordero Patterson.
He put up 7.40. Okay, yeah. Wow.
Brother, did you watch Deshaun Watson last week?
I had to.
Was not pretty.
I had to because I had Cooper starting. Yeah, the only Browns pass catcher I'm starting is Amari Cooper this week, because you have to start Amari Cooper.
Yeah, so I mean, Juju for sure. The Pickens saga last week scares the shit out of me. So, and Darius Slayton is really the only guy left, and with Saquon Barkley possibly on a pitch count because of his neck, I'm going to go Darius Slayton, because really, the Giants came out with a really strong game plan against Dallas on Thanksgiving, and through a lot of short passes, a lot of bootlegs with Daniel Jones, and I think they'll probably do close to the same against the Eagles, because the line is just decimated for the Giants. It might be a little healthier than it was on Thanksgiving at this point, but I know they're still suffering some injuries. So I think it can be Slayton for sure. He's the only wide receiver left on that team besides Kenny Golladay. But it's Kenny Golladay.
He's a guaranteed 6 targets weekly in one of the more efficient offenses, thanks to Brian Dable. Yeah, Darius Slayton's the number one guy to start in that. Well, yes, he can boom or bust. He's boomed more than he has busted this season. And for all of our faults and trying to, promote guys in this offense, like, I was never on the Richie James hype, but, the times when we were looking at bringing up Wan'Dale Robinson or Kadarius Toney's going to be the guy. Like, there's been so many names thrown out in this Giants offense, and for it to just be Darius Slayton again, it makes the most sense. He's talented. Yeah. He's fast. He's got good hands, just throw him the ball.
I mean, and it could have been Wan'Dale if Wan'Dale played on actual grass.
Yep, that's very fair. But yeah, it's Darius Slayton and Juju for me. Pickens is great. He's still complaining about targets, so I don't love that.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem, guys. Cousins, Danny Dimes, or Goff. Kirk has the best matchup, so give me Kirk. And Kirk against the Lions at 1 a.m.
Goff is going for this week. Okay, this week, it's Cousins.
Yeah. For this week, it's Cousins.
The only way you're not starting Cousins this week is if you have Mahomes, Allen. Like, I'm starting Geno Smith over him, and that's a marginal call.
Yeah.
But I'm starting Kirk over Kyler this week.
You're starting who over Kyler?
Kirk.
Oh, Kirk Cousins. I don't know why I was thinking Christian Kirk. Like, we're talking
about I'm starting a wide receiver in my quarterback slot.
Do it.
It's a new I hate this question. I'm sorry, Diesel. I'm sorry. I told my buddy earlier in the season to start Gabe Davis whenever he had like a 2-touchdown output. It's like week 1 or something. And I was like victory lapping that at one point. Gabe Davis is going to have a higher floor than Adam Thielen in theory. This Detroit game could finish with a score of 45-40 if we're going to be just bluntly honest.
I'm gonna go Thielen. I can't start Gabe at this point. To be fair, I haven't been able to start Gabe for weeks, and I
I
have
haven't
no shares in
rostered
him.
Gabe. I haven't rostered Gabe in years, ever actually.
Yeah,
If you're
I can't.
starting Thielen, you're hoping there's an output like last week was in terms of the targets. You're not looking for the outcome. I once again I'm saying it depends on what your roster needs this week. If you already have a surefire stud wide receiver one, I'm starting Gabe Davis. And I don't think it's close. Because while Thielen, yes, is very talented and Kirk Cousins peppers the ball around, he's fighting with the best receiver in football right now in Justin Jefferson, fantasy-wise. Also
Mhm.
fighting with TJ Hawkinson, touches with Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison. Like, Adam Thielen is plenty talented, but his days as a league-winning type wide receiver are done. He is now the third or fourth option in this offense at best. And while, yes, Gabe Davis will make you throw your phone through your wall if you're not careful, this is a guy that's still 27th at the position in PPR, averaging 12 and a half a week. And at his worst over the last 4 weeks, he's given you 7.8 points. At Thielen's best, he's gotten you 21, which is similar to Gabe Davis. But the target floor is there. He's had at least 6 targets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the last 8 weeks that he's played. Adam Thielen's lucky to get 6 targets. I think he's only totaled that number. He's totaled out 6 targets or more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Never mind. I I was not familiar with your work, Mr. Thielen. Damn, this is tough. Holy
I
shit.
was not familiar with your work.
You
Real
know
quick, I
what?
think I think I have an easy one for us on our thread. Real quick, Judy, Hollywood, Robert Woods.
Hollywood. You can't start Robert
Okay,
Woods
cool.
because Robert Woods wouldn't start Robert Woods. I'm going to
Carry
say
on.
go if you have the stud wide receiver one. The floors are actually way too similar for me to even like say that Gabe Davis is a better option. If you need the upside, you're starting Gabe Davis. If you want a safer floor, go Adam Thielen. They're only separated by like 1.3 points per week on the average. And while Thielen could give you 6 points or even 4, Gabe Davis could give you around the same output. You're not happy either way with whatever's going to happen. If you start one, the other one's going to go off. It's just as simple as that. Thielen should be due for some positive touchdown regression in the red zone. He only has 3 on the season. I'm pretty sure Gabe Davis has like a game where he had 3 and it's been zilch the rest of the way. So Gabe has 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 touchdowns. I'll lean Thielen in solidarity.
Isaiah Pacheco, Deontay Foreman, George Pickens. Bench one of them.
No, you.
I'm benching Pickens. It's not close.
Well, who's Foreman playing
The
this week?
saga last week scares the fuck out of me now. I have no idea what to think about George Pickens anymore.
He's a rookie receiver with a bunch of talent that plays for a sorry team. That's all you need to know. Baltimore secondary is not going to be kind to him. I think Travis Homer's going to have a day. Because Mixon's playing, right?
Mixon is playing, so yes, I will lean Travis Homer here because
Well, Kenneth Walker's out.
Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas are out. It's Travis Homer and Tony Jones Jr. That's your running backs for Seattle today, and I think Homer gets the first 2 downs. And I think Homer sees a lot more targets. I like P. Ryan. He's pretty good. He's one of the better backups in the league. And honestly, Cincinnati could almost move towards to like a Pollard and Zeke, a Chubb and Hunt type deal. Although Hunt's fallen off a cliff this season, but they could really implement P. Ryan more in. But until I see that they do, I'm gonna go Homer here, especially in full PPR. Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm going Homer in full PPR. I've told people not to start Samaje Perine for weeks, and yes, if he's done well for you, congratulations. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of the guy. He's talented enough to definitely be a spot start, but if your roster is in the position where you need to start Perine weekly, it's not looking good.
Braden, you're welcome.
Thank you,
Oh,
Braden. We appreciate you stopping by.
Sam. Sam. Oh, I'm going Thielen. I'm not picking Zay Jones. You can't make me. I can't do it. Zay Jones has trapped us multiple times. Has a big week and then into the fucking floor. I'm not picking Zay Jones.
He finishes in single digits more than he does double digits, and Adam Thielen has a better quarterback, like marginally better. Like I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence is bad. I think Kirk is better currently.
I hate it, and I think every Thielen question is going to make me angry.
The thing about Adam Thielen is he's more likely to get you 10 points than Zay Jones is to get you his 20 points, because that's the thing about Zay Jones is
I feel it, Sam. Week 14 buys is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is ridiculous.
if Zay Jones isn't 10 plus, he's 5.3, 4.2, 6.5, 3.6. And he sprinkled in a couple of weeks with 9 points. But outside of that, it's either like 20 or like 5. The variance is too high for me with a guy like Zay Jones. And with a guy like Thielen, there is this precedent with Adam Thielen, or we've seen him do it before. He still effectively could be a red zone threat in the way that Kirk Cousins has used him in the past. And PPR wise, he has really good hands. I expect him against the Detroit secondary, if he's going to get 6 targets, to have at least 4 receptions. So, yes, 4.7 last week was pretty ugly. I'm going to bank on the consistency of him from week 3 all the way until week 10 of this year, finishing with at least around 9.7. And the only week he had less than that was a week against Chicago's defense. That was actually pretty good in the secondary for a chunk of the season when Eddie Jackson and Brisker were fully healthy. So, yeah, I can't recommend starting Zay Jones because we've done too much in the podcast league, and it never works.
We fell for it. Yeah, we fell for it. So, all right. I think this one's a little easier, at least the first part. Jared Goff or Tyler Huntley?
I'm going Jared Goff.
Same.
I'll take the proven guy over someone that I'm speculating.
There's a second half, but I'm going to get to this one.
Tyler Lockett is so underrated this year. He's so I didn't take him anywhere, and I hate myself for it. You were told Tyler Lockett was cooked.
Is it full PPR?
If it's full PPR, give me Tyler Lockett.
Really?
He had 9 receptions on 12 targets last week.
I guess they are playing Carolina.
If you are going to hedge Tyler Lockett because of DK Metcalf, you also have to hedge Chris Godwin because of Mike Evans. Mike Evans is better than DK Metcalf. And is Geno Smith better than Brady right now? I'd venture to say probably. Since week 1, Tyler Lockett has finished with at least 10 points in every week besides week 6. And in that stretch, he's had over 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. He's number 10 in full point PPR. Tyler Lockett in this league was drafted 131st overall. Tyler Lockett is a league winner. Yeah. I love Chris Godwin. If I could have had Lockett in the later rounds, I would have been starting him weekly over guys like Godwin. Not because he's a better player, but his output has been unmatched. This guy was written off. I thought his career was done.
I do not think either choice is particularly wrong.
But I'm leaning situation. Lockett for sure.
But yeah, we'll go Lockett.
I love Chris Godwin. I'm starting him everywhere. I don't have any Tyler Lockett. So yeah.
I'm leaning Goff.
Let's see. Who are the?
I think Goff is in the shootout. I think that's the thing here.
Do we trust that he's not going to be pressured by Minnesota is the question. You know,
I'm not
Trevor
too
Lawrence is number 9 at quarterback right now in fantasy points.
wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I'll lean Kirk, or not Kirk. I'll lean Goff because Tennessee's defense, while their team is not my favorite, they
It
play really
has a
tough,
really
and
good
it's
pass
in
rush.
division.
Yeah.
I hope the Jaguars win this game because I love chaos.
Titans are
But
winning
yeah,
that division. Start 2. Judy, Moore, Chark, Foreman, Boyd.
I hate
Right
starting.
off.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
I'm leaning more in Foreman because the Seattle defense is not good.
I was gonna say I hate saying to start two dudes from the same team, but there's a clear talent disparity between the names that are listed. Jerry Jeudy is probably as talented as DJ Moore, if not a little less. But Jerry Jeudy plays with Russell Wilson, who's one of the worst quarterbacks in fantasy this year. Granted, Cortland Sutton is out this week. I don't know if that's a plus for Jerry Jeudy, but we'll see. Jerry Jeudy.
And KC gives up the
one.
4th most points to wide receivers, but they don't give up that many. They're not going to give up that many points to Russell Wilson. I just can't start a Denver player. At some point I thought it was going to stop, but it hasn't stopped, so I can't do it.
You know what's crazy? For all the hate I've given the Broncos this year and all the shit I've talked about them, which is justified. Russell Wilson's been god awful. Jerry Jeudy has not been that bad. There's weeks where he will give you 2 points and you will want to end it all. But since week 4, he's finished with at least 8 fantasy points in every matchup he's played, besides the game against Tennessee when he got hurt. He had 10.5 last week, 2 weeks prior, 18.3, 16.6. If you want to hedge, plant your flag firmly in one of the two, DJ Moore or Deonta Foreman. I'm not going to pick which. I like Foreman more probably just because the touch ceiling is going to be there. DJ Moore, I have to look at his targets, but with whoever's going to be throwing him the balls, at Sam Darnold.
Yes.
Ooh, fuck that shit. Sam Darnold loves DJ Moore.
And Sam Darnold does love DJ Moore. That's what.
But in the same vein, the last time we had the big DJ Moore game, it was followed up by a big fat 4 points. I know PJ Walker was the quarterback last time. Well, you know what? Just don't get cute. Just start Foreman and DJ Moore. Let Jeudy prove it to you this week. I think Jeudy could be usable as a flex moving forward if he proves it again this week. Yeah, Foreman should be like 20 carries this week. He was literally 31, 11,
against
24.
one of the worst rushing defenses in the league.
Yeah, start Foreman. You can't not start Foreman. Yep. Okay. You're sitting Deonta Foreman.
Yeah, I was about to say you can't sit Deonta Foreman most of the time, but in this situation, you can.
There is not a single running back I'm going to start over Ramondre Stevenson that is not named Austin Eckler on a weekly basis. Ramondre Stevenson is so good. He's better than ETN at this point.
So it's as easy as this. ETN has nobody to split with, pretty much for the most part. Zeke is splitting, but dear God, are the Cowboys going to annihilate the Texans today?
Well,
and
Zeke's
Ramondre
every red zone
Stevenson,
touchdown. Zeke is every red zone touchdown on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, they just feed him, which is great to see. Where was that the last 2 years?
And, like, what's going to stop me from saying that Zeke gets 2 touchdowns today against one of the worst rushing defenses in the league? And our line is starting to get more healthy. I don't think Tyron Smith is playing today. I don't think we activated him yet, but I don't think that really matters anyways. And then Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris is out. So
he's out.
I mean, Damian Harris is doubtful, but yeah, Damian Harris is not going to play. Jacoby Myers is not going to play. Ramondre Stevenson is the only man left on this offense.
Ramondre Stevenson is who we thought DeAndre Swift was going to be this year. Genuinely. Granted, Damian Harris getting hurt and being on that contract year for his eligibility on the Patriots next year. Like, it was always going to be Stevenson. Harris is getting exponentially more expensive, or in theory was going to be after this season. Even with around 15 carries per game on average, he's still giving you weekly at least like 4 to 5 receptions at his floor. At his ceiling, he can give you 9 receptions a week. And he's getting 30, 50, 70 yards through the air. And he still has touchdown upside. I think he's going to start scoring some more touchdowns. He hasn't scored a touchdown in the last 3 weeks. Even then, he's been putting up 14.2, 20.2, 12.8. Stevenson is outside of Eckler, CMC, Saquon. There are not many running backs I'm going to roll out weekly over Ramondre Stevenson. He has been as close to a league winner as you can find at the price you got him.
Yeah, I mean, he was. We asked a question on Friday, who was your best waiver wire pickup, and he was one of the most popular answers.
People got him on waivers.
Yeah.
How many teams were these?
I don't know. I don't ask these questions.
Granted, I was really high on Ramondre. I got him in the 7th round in that league where I'm looking up the totals. Even then, he was a steal. Morning. Okay.
Morning, Trey. Juju, Boyd, Singletary, Judy, or Rashad White forced to start Dulcich if that impacts Judy. Thanks and good luck. Good luck to you as well. I'm throwing Tyler Boyd out the window. I can't trust Tyler Boyd any single week. I wasn't able to trust him when Chase is out. I'm not going to trust him when Chase is in. I think Juju
is a lock.
Juju's a lock. He's the number one. Singletary is starting to lose touches to James Cook. And Rashad White is losing touches to Leonard Fournette. And then we talked about Judy having okay. And I don't think Dulcich really impacts Judy per se. It's just, Dulcich kind of turns into Sutton. He turns into the number 2 guy on that offense because Hamler and the other guy, I can't think of his name right now.
Tim Patrick?
Yes. No, Tim Patrick's out for the season. I think he tore his ACL like week 1 or preseason.
He did in training camp. So is Hamler healthy?
I think so.
Well,
not that it matters. No, never mind. He's on the IR.
I'd probably start Judy and Juju in the same vein. I'm not confident in any of the names. Rashad White has the highest ceiling of anyone mentioned, just based upon game script, and I think what's going to happen. But then again, they are facing the Niners, so you have to temper any expectations.
So let me tell you some pass catchers that'll be playing today alongside Jerry Jeudy. Brandon Johnson, Montrell Washington, Kendrell Hilton, and Jalen Virgil.
Kendall Hinton?
So those
former starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos, Kendall Hinton.
Yeah.
The greatest start in NFL history.
So I think I'm going to go Juju and Judy.
Reluctantly, yes. Juju and Judy.
Yes.
Slight nod to Singletary if you don't want to start 2 Broncos.
And White could have an okay week, but Tampa Bay at this point, I don't know what they're going to do with the 2-headed backfield at this point. And White,
Rashad White could have a good day because of the passing attack, because the Niners rushing defense is murderous. They do not give up a lot. If I'm correct, Wilson Jr. had a down week. Same with Raheem Mostert.
Mostert got more carries than JWJ did.
0.3 for JWJ and Raheem the Dream. Let's see what you were doing last week, buddy.
JWJ almost got his week saved, but Tua slightly overthrew a wheel route that was probably 6.
Yep, seven carries for 30 yards for Raheem Mostert. This Niners defense is the real deal.
And the Tampa Bay line is decimated. So.
Yep.
No problem, Trey. Good luck this week, brother. Hope you can get into them playoffs if you aren't already. Need one for your flex. Marquise Brown, Ayuk, Homer, Rashad White. I'm going Hollywood.
Hollywood or Ayuk for me. I just think with coming off the bye, Hopkins is going to draw the primary defense. I think Hollywood's in for a good week. He has not totaled less than 8 targets since week 1. And I don't think that's going to change. I think he might get a touchdown today. Ayuk is a really nice play. Out of the other names, Ayuk's the best guy besides Hollywood. So I'm going to lean Hollywood for sure. I don't know what Brock Purdy's going to do this week. I'm not comfortable
Me
starting
neither.
any Niners pass catchers. They're all talented. Purdy's going to be fine, but I need to see it for at least a week. Yeah, Hollywood's the safe bet. Ever since he's been back from IR, I'm like, even whenever he wasn't back yet, I was telling people if Hollywood Brown's active, you start him. Like the Mexico City game, Austin, I was like, if Hollywood Brown is active this week, you start him for your roster.
Yeah, and like he did have a significant injury, but he's coming off of a bye. He's the number 2 guy. Rondale Moore's out,
If
and
you're not starting him now, when will you start him is the question.
you go. Zay Jones or Damian Pierce in non PPR.
Damian Pierce.
Yep.
Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks are out. He could have 35 carries for 55 yards. It's still the right start. Like the usage is going to be there for Damian Pierce. Unless Rex Burkhead rears his ugly head once more.
Yeah,
Which
I mean
would
against
be
the Dallas
interesting.
against Dallas, it's going to be a shit show. But you might as well just take the guy who's guaranteed some sort of volume. And Dallas has been a little prone to the run this year between the tackles. It's been a little tough for them. So maybe early on, Pierce can sneak in, some big runs or maybe even a touchdown before this game script goes extremely negative after Davis Mills throws 3 pick sixes. Oh yeah, Davis Mills is back. We had 2 weeks of Kyle Allen, but it's all over now.
The quarterback of the future is back in. I kid. Bryce Young, you are a Houston Texan.
Did you see that? Was it Caleb Williams won the Heisman?
Yeah. It's fitting. Everybody else that was near the podium is going to be playing next weekend for something that matters. So Caleb can hoist his trophy. Good for him.
Yeah.
Did he write "fuck the committee" on his fingernails? I know it'd be a little crowded, but
Juju or Garrett Wilson? Half PPR.
Garrett Wilson.
I'm in the same boat.
Juju, the only reason you're starting Juju is because you have to. Travis Kelce's the wide receiver 1. Juju Smith-Schuster's a wide receiver 2 with the upside of a wide receiver 3 with how Patrick Mahomes peppers the ball around. It's not his fault.
Sir, Travis Kelce is a tight end.
Did you know Garrett Wilson had 15 targets last week?
Mike White loves Garrett Wilson.
He used to love Elijah Moore. Pepper's Farm remembers.
Hey, man. Mike White gave, Elijah Moore, an 800% boost in targets, so.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson would be the best rookie receiver this year if it wasn't for a guy named Chris Olave.
Even then, doesn't Garrett Wilson have better stats at this point?
He has higher pop games, maybe, but he doesn't have better stats overall.
No way.
100. He has 1, 2, 300 plus yard games. Chris Olave
has 60 receptions for 887 yards and 3 touchdowns. I gotta believe Wilson has more.
I'll look up the rookie receiving leaders right now.
I'm looking at Garrett Wilson right now. 57 receptions for 790 yards and 4 touchdowns.
And like I told you, Chris Olave is better.
I already forgot Chris Olave's stats. I'm not going to lie to you. My memory is dog shit.
He has 887 yards compared to Garrett Wilson 790.
790. Yeah, but Garrett Wilson had to play with Zach Wilson, and that's
he's playing with Andy Dalton in 2022. He has gray in his beard. His coach is Dennis Allen. What else are you going to say to him? He's playing with Alvin Kamara. Is he? Is he? Mark Ingram got a carry after he blew his knee out last week. What are we talking about? Come on. Don't play with me like that. Come on, man. His next best receiver is Marquez Callaway. Garrett Wilson's playing with actual NFL wide receivers. Olave had 3 weeks of Michael Thomas, and they said, bye-bye, here's Jarvis Landry. Just kidding. IR, buddy. It's all on you. Olave has been the top target in a dysfunctional offense since week 3. Garrett Wilson has been the top target in an offense whenever the fuck the quarterback decides it.
Fuck.
Olave has been so good. And that's crazy because I was all in on Garrett Wilson as the number 1 receiver off the board during the draft. Still don't understand Drake London going, I get why Drake London went over him, I guess. But The only thing where Garrett Wilson is cleared is in rushing yards with 4 compared to Olave's 0 and with 1 more touchdown. But yards per game, Olave clears. Average reception, Olave clears. More targets, more receptions. And he has over almost 100 more yards. I love Chris Olave. Christian Watson, by the way, quietly could be the best receiver in this class this year on a per game basis. Just because he's only played in 10 games, and yes, he only has 401 yards. But if we're looking at just output, dude's got 7 touchdowns.
Who has 7 touchdowns?
Christian Watson.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Like, his yards are nowhere near the top end of this class, but
that's because he didn't exist until 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Where
so he
is
dropped 3 tutties on Dallas?
Treylon Burks has 359 yards. Greg Dulcich is counted in this rookie
I felt like
receiver
Treylon
rank.
Burks could have really been in this conversation if he stayed healthy. I like Treylon Burks a lot.
Josh Palmer or Corey Davis? Oh, the real deal. Okay, Cash. Let's see. Time to get back into the kitchen. Josh Palmer
has the better matchup.
But he's the 3rd guy on the books with 4 competent receivers if Mike Williams is back. I don't think you're seeing 11 targets from Josh Palmer again.
Corey Davis got a few last week, but I couldn't tell you how many.
Corey Davis had 10 targets.
Oh. Well, I know Mike White had to throw the ball like 87 times.
And he's going to again this week. Buffalo should be able to get out to a lead. I'm going to lean Corey Davis. Not because I'm super infatuated by his output over the season. He's really been just kind of a hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, Mike White threw the ball 57 times against Minnesota.
I just don't know what you can expect of Joshua Palmer this week.
Yeah, if Mike Williams was out, I could say Josh Palmer. But
if Mike Williams is out, Josh Palmer's a top 30 receiver weekly. I'm going to lean Corey Davis. Game script is going to lean towards a high-scoring affair between the Jets and Bills. Granted, it could be like 35-6, depending on what's going down with the Jets. Jets defense is good. Yeah, Palmer's really, really nice whenever he's the number 2. Hell, Palmer could score a touchdown for all we know. That one week whenever Williams was back, before he went out, Palmer was having a good game. Depends on how you feel Mike Williams is. If you think Mike Williams is finally back, Palmer's upside is officially curtailed. We're not going to see 11 targets to that guy with both Keenan and Mike in the offense. So, just based upon volume, I'm going to lean Corey Davis.
Devin, I want you to pray for this person's team as I ask this question.
Okay.
Full PPR. Devin Duvernay. Oh, I appreciate that, Cash.
Thanks, Cash. We appreciate it.
We'll be here the rest of the playoffs. So that's 3 weeks after today, 15, 16, 17. So, and then we'll be doing fantasy and NFL content throughout the entire year. So appreciate the sub. We're always here if you need us, and on Twitter as well. Devin Duvernay.
Oh, I want to throw up.
Or Robert Woods.
I'm going Devin Duvernay.
Me too. I just can't, dude. I can't.
He gave you 10.3 last week after a 6.9 output.
Yeah, and how many points has he given us every time we fucking started him?
So his worst output was 1.5, followed by 1.7. He had a 2.4 there at one point. But let's not act like See, to everybody listening,
Robert Woods is
life is about victories and losses, and Robert Woods is probably the biggest loss I've had in fantasy football history. Austin and I got him in a league where it was super late. We were like, this can't be a bad pick. This is he's the wide receiver 1 for the first half of the season because Treylon Burks is out. Robert Woods didn't get the memo. With Treylon Burks back, the upside that was once believed to be Robert Woods does not exist.
Oh
He's
man.
had 1, 2, 3 double-digit outputs, which is honestly less than Duvernay at this point, which is surprising because Duvernay felt like a chasm over stretches of this season. Yeah, Duvernay has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 compared to 3 10-point
Oh
outputs.
man.
You're
Okay.
it's
Oh.
Duvernay and it's close, and I prayers up, man. That is
Okay.
unfortunate.
Okay. You have to pick one of these running backs: Jamal Williams, Miles Sanders, or Rashad White.
I will never, in good faith, pick Jamal Williams out of protest for DeAndre Swift.
I think that's just jealousy,
If you're
envy.
if you're cool with 9 points a week and hopefully he hits 20 plus with like multiple touchdowns, start Jamal Williams. He's not really efficient. He's not really he's not better than Miles Sanders is what I'm saying. He's leading the league in rushing touchdowns, which elevates the floor and the ceiling at the same time. But if you want yards and if you're looking for the safer floor, it's Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders weekly is 14.2 a week. Tough spot, Homer or Jones. Aaron Jones? That's a bye week, so
No,
it's not Aaron.
Tony Jones. Basically both Seattle running backs.
You go Homer.
I think Homer's the receiving back. Oh, it's half PPR. No, yeah, still Homer. I think Homer. I just
Tony Jones hasn't really gotten much work before the guys went down. Travis Homer's a guy that's been sprinkled in throughout the season. I think if
Adam.
anyone's
Okay, so I'm just gonna read this to see if it changes your opinion at all. Adam Schefter, not Scheffner. Okay, so clear that up. Adam Schefter on ESPN, so we're not getting trolled here, that he expects Jones to draw the starting running back over Travis Homer. Even if Jones is on the field for Seattle's first offensive snap, it doesn't guarantee he'll be in line for the biggest workload in the backfield. Is expected to be the regular starter with Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas out, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I would still lean Homer. I think Homer's going to get more receiving work.
take it from the guy that has started DeAndre Swift in numerous leagues, just unabashedly. DeAndre Swift got the start for the Lions a couple weeks back. Did DeAndre Swift get the most carries? No. Did DeAndre Swift get the most opportunities? No. Starting is just the first guy on the field. And football, starting really doesn't matter. This isn't basketball where you have your crews where you're going to start the game, play 8 minutes, then get subbed out for your next crew. It's football. It's a snap-by-snap game. They're both going to be worked in liberally, I'm assuming, because Kenneth Walker's been such a factor in that rushing attack. I have seen Travis Homer. I have not really seen a lot of Tony Jones. And I think Pete Carroll trusts Travis Homer. There's a reason why he's still on this roster. He's a guy that survived the Chris Carson days and the Rashad
Chris
Penny.
Carson. Chris Carson.
Yeah, last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, he put up 23.3 points. Or 2 weeks ago. How the fuck did he do that? 23.3 points. 2 carries, 8 yards, 2 receptions, 45 yards. Oh, this is the wrong league. My bad.
Is that your return league?
Yeah, this is my Wombo
0, 3,
combo
4.
fucking whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter, but they really
Yeah,
do.
I was like,
My bad.
yeah, those stats do not equate to 23 at all.
Okay. More accurate reading. He had 13.3. Receiving touchdown, 45 yards, 8. Yeah. I will trust Homer over Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah, I'm gonna trust Homer too. I'm telling everybody to start Homer this week over Tony Jones.
We told
Especially
somebody
with
to
the way
start Travis Homer over Samaje Perine, so you're starting Travis Homer over Tony Jones. We promise.
True. I love Perine though. I feel like he could really be more involved in that offense. He really
You know
showed
who could
while
also
Mixon
be
was
more
out.
involved in that offense?
Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, so Zach
True.
Taylor. I don't trust Zach Taylor with anything besides losing big games.
Mm. Let's see. 5 minutes left until lineups lock. I'm just going through a thread. Seeing if keeping an eye on the chat, make sure nobody's got last minute questions, and then we will lock up, throw the key away, and pray. Because really, that's all you can do outside of starting the players who score the most points. Outside of that, it's out of your control.
Exactly, yeah.
I love how 340 comments on Tyler's thread is a quiet day for him.
I know, dude. That's crazy.
That's so wild, but I respect Tyler for putting in the work and having people jump on his thread as much as they do. Donovan or Cook? I just need to look up stats real quick.
James Cook.
I think so too. I think Cook has been getting the receiving work. 6 receptions, 41 yards, put up 16 points last week, 14 carries, 64 yards. And then Zonovan is going to be skewed because he was the only back. So, and he put up 16. So he put up slightly more points being the starting back. So let's go James Cook. With Michael Carter back, I just can't start Zonovan Knight until I see.
Michael Carter was the sole reason why Breece Hall didn't break out sooner. So I'd assume he's going to be the reason why Zonovan Knight does not break out. Michael Carter is a second round running back, third round running back. He's extremely talented. Big Michael Carter guy. It's just not his fault that Breece Hall got taken the year after he was drafted.
True.
And remember, friends, Josh Jacobs is a must start, even if he's questionable. Take it from me. I benched him 1 week and it cost me the week.
I think somebody was trying to be somebody was telling me on Thursday, oh, he's questionable. And what if he gets knocked out? I'm like, he's not getting knocked out. My man has to be literally sliced in half to not be able to play. And even then, I think Josh McDaniels would give the top half of Josh Jacobs 10 carries. God, I can't wait to get into that game tomorrow. That game was, it's just the epitome of how bad Josh McDaniels has been this season. It is a joke how bad that dude is. I don't get it, dude. I don't. And it's not even the fact that they lost to Baker Mayfield. I don't give a shit who they lost to. It's just Josh Jacobs is a dog.
Coming from a Chargers fan, I hate the Raiders, but Josh Jacobs is that dude.
Josh Jacobs said no 5th-year option.
Josh Jacobs said, "Hey, my buddy Aaron Judge, I'm going to copy your whole flow." To quote Jerry Maguire, "Show me the money."
Could you imagine if Josh Jacobs set the rushing record? I know he's not going to do it at this point, but could you imagine if they're decline 5th-year option? All right, cool. Josh Jacobs, new rushing yard leader over a season. Cool. Pay up, bitch. Could you fucking imagine?
I would be shitted, my friend. I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
I think
Sean Payton really wants head coach job with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. NFL rumors. Sean Payton connected to Chargers, Cardinals amid Cowboys buzz.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think Mike McCarthy is going to be gone. Even if we lose in the first round to Tampa Bay, I don't foresee it. I will say he's been a little better this season outside of the Green Bay game. Philadelphia isn't his fault. I mean, going forward on your own 30 is pretty dog shit, but Cooper Rush never set us to win that game.
Austin, I have bad news.
What?
J-Ron Curse just got helped off the field during pregame warmups. You're starting safety.
It's super shitty. Luckily for this game, it doesn't truly matter, but I hope he's healthy moving forward. He's been killer this season.
Yeah, no, he's hopefully it's nothing too serious because
hopefully it's just a pull, maybe a strain.
Yeah, nothing. Hopefully no tears.
Hopefully he's out for today. He could be out against Jacksonville because we can beat Jacksonville. Franchise tag, yeah. This is probably the most realistic outcome.
No, yeah. It sucks for him. It's the reality of most star-level skill position guys, especially running backs.
Yep.
Wasn't Saquon due for a new contract as well?
Great question.
I think he gets franchise tagged. I think every running back that's worth a shit in free agency is going to be franchise tagged, which is really terrible because of the lifespan of running backs.
Yeah. No. Oh no, yeah, he is an unrestricted free agent next year.
The running back class running back free agents.
It's pretty fucking wild. Number 2 overall. Do you think he lived up to that?
Whenever he was healthy, sure. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. I don't think running back is a place you can take within the top 10 picks.
Yeah.
After pick 10, it gets a lot easier to pallet it. Even did Zeke live up to the sixth pick or whatever the fuck, like 5th pick, whatever he was? Probably not.
In my opinion, I'll have to look up the stats again. In my opinion, before the contract, he was pretty damn close to it. He was a monster. But after he got paid is when he started to break down.
Well, so Saquon Barkley draft. So that's 2018 NFL draft. I'll just read the names that were taken before and after him.
Before Saquon?
Correct.
I don't even know who went number 1 overall that year.
So 2018, first pick was Baker Mayfield, then Saquon, then Sam Darnold, then Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson, Josh Allen, Roquan Smith, Mike McGlinchey, Josh Rosen, Minka Fitzpatrick, Vita Vea, Daron Payne, Marcus Davenport, Colton Miller, Tremaine Edmonds, Derwin James, Jair Alexander, Leighton Vander Esch, Frank Ragnow, Billy Price, Rashad Evans. Lamar Jackson was the 32nd pick in that draft. Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Hayden Hurst. Every pick besides Sam Darnold after him in that first 10 picks, besides Josh Rosen, is probably a better return on investment for the franchise that took them in terms of overall impact. But
does Mark Davis have the money to give to Josh Jacobs? What money does Mark Davis have at this point? That's my question.
He's saving a lot on haircuts. So
True.
And lineups are locked, my friends. But if you might miss out on a Saquon Barkley or Josh Jacobs in free agency, may I interest you in a Mark Ingram or Rex Burkhead?
No, you cannot.
Deontay Foreman?
Interest me. No.
There's a lot of Miles Sanders is a free agent after this year.
If Mark Davis has enough money to buy a WNBA team, I think it's fine. Fair.
That is fair. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You got me there. He put me right in my spot. All right, time for me to pull up the old red zone, sit back, and watch the magic happen. Friends, coworkers, other fellow fantasy players, there's 2 pieces of advice I can give you throughout the entire season. Start the players who score the most points, and always remember, fantasy football is a skill game where the better player always wins. Devin?
Hey, man. Start the players that score more. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. There is a Tuesday after Monday night, as sometimes we all forget. Live for the Tuesdays because, there's always a new week. Shout out everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everybody asking questions. We appreciate everybody engaging in the content. We look forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow, possibly at 5:30 is the goal for tomorrow's episode. Beyond that, I'm going to watch some football. I'm going to be glued to some screens looking at MLB free agency because my heart's been broken once. You can't break it again, right? We'll find out.
They can. They definitely can. There is no stopping the force. The Yankees broke your heart, yeah.
The Yankees are preparing an offer for Rodon, dude.
John Heyman broke your heart.
Rodon might come down between the Yankees and Giants.
And you guys are just going to war with the Yankees, aren't you?
I hate them. Ugly-ass pinstripes.
Alrighty, friends. We will be back here tomorrow night for more fantasy and NFL content, and then a special Saturday edition on this Saturday. It'll be the first week of most playoffs, so we'll be here Saturday with 3 Saturday games for any start-sit questions you may have. 9 a.m. Pacific time, an hour before kickoff for all you different time zone friends. Anything else, Mr. Devin?
Nope. Enjoy your Sunday. Soak in your Monday. And we'll catch you guys Sunday for week 15. Week 14 buys. Abolish them. Peace.